Look, it always feels a big occasion when Manchester United are in town, but this, more importantly, is the start of a massive week for Newcastle in pursuit of Champions League football. We've already won at Old Trafford earlier in the season, but how similar are things now? What can we learn from that one? And what can we learn more recently from Manchester United under Ruben Amorim? It's all coming up in this one, Newcastle fans, so do us a favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, ladies and gentlemen, from a glorious Newcastle upon Tyne. Now, I'm not in my usual spot near where I sit for this video because there was some builders there enjoying the sunshine with a coffee, so I've moved not out of choice. But I tell you what, this could be the new spot. This is glorious. So sometimes things work out for the best, and working out for the best is where I want to see Newcastle's end of the season go, in pursuit of Champions League football. We've got games in hand, but more importantly, we've got a massive week of 3 matches in 6 days. 2 of those are at home. And Manchester United, for me personally, does it come any bigger? It's always the game I look out for, home and away. I dislike Manchester United on a personal level since being a kid, and that's never changed, even though they're basically shite now. Who could forget that good old Keegan rant?
I've kept really quiet, but I'll tell you something. He went down in my estimation when he said that. We have not resorted to that. But I'll tell you, you can tell him now, be watching it, we're still fighting for this title, and he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something. And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Well, I don't do it as good as Mr. Keegan himself, but I gave it a good go. Let us know in the comments what you thought of that. But look, we've already gone down to Old Trafford, last game of 2024, and won quite comfortably on what was one of the most monumental, memorable nights for the away section, singing from the first whistle to the last. And it was job done, and Amorim hasn't really recovered since. If you look at Manchester United sitting in mid-table, the longer they stay there, the better. But what have we learned from that match that still stands in this Manchester United team and Amorim's way of playing that we could use on Sunday? Before we get into how Manchester United set up and what they did and what they didn't do, I just want to remind you that this will be a different match because their midfield two of Eriksen and Casemiro back on the 30th of December was like walking, 2 blokes from walking football coming up against the Premier League team. They were literally running like they had rocks in their socks, and we absolutely rocked them in midfield, and that's where I think the battle is going to be key. Look, Manchester United are going to play with slightly better footballers than what they had at their disposal that day. The likes of Ugarte, who I do generally think is a pretty good footballer. I don't see him being at Manchester United much longer. They will set up slightly different in terms of personnel, but Amorim's system has pretty much stayed the same. And I almost weirdly respect him for not changing how he wants to play since he's come into the football club. Almost, I don't have the players to do this, but this is how I play. Well, until I get them players, I'm just going to roll with the punches, even if it doesn't win me football matches. You've got to respect it in a weird way. And obviously, they haven't won many matches in the process. But on that day at Old Trafford, lots of different things did not go in their favour. Ruben Amorim likes a high-pressing team, but what we saw that was really strange at Old Trafford in December was half of the team pressed, half didn't. And that played in Eddie Howe and Newcastle's hands down to a T. So what do I mean by that? Well, the likes of their forward line in the second half of the pitch were pushing on our defenders, our centre-backs and our midfield like flies on shite. But their back 5 did not do the same, and that freed up so much space for us, and we always had spare men in midfield. And when they did press from the back, that opened up even more room. So Martinez, one of their centre-backs, would quite regularly push out onto Bruno Guimaraes, who picked up that space on the right. What did that allow to happen? Alexander Isak dropped deep, opened up that freedom that Martinez had left, and we had so much joy at doing that. Also, when a back 5 chooses not to press in the same way the 5 players in front of them do, what does that allow? Well, when our midfield push up, the likes of Bruno, Joelinton and Tonali, we always had extra men. And I'm going to show you, put a graphic on the screen where at one point it was 2 against 5 in black and white, and we just completely overran midfield. Now, I will sing from the rooftops that Newcastle's midfield is key in most games. But if Ruben Amorim sets up exactly the same, which in system I fully expect him to, and we'll touch on what he did against Manchester City at the weekend in a second, it's going to be key again. But I would be shocked if their defence does not push out slightly more. Now, they are at St James's Park. They are going to be a little bit more reserved, but we need to win them battles in midfield and play through their forward line, pressing us at every opportunity. I still believe that this Manchester United team does not have the players to suit his system. That's just going to play into our hands at St James's Park if we do what we do well. And why do I think the wide areas are key? Well, I must be the only man sad enough on the planet to watch that Manchester derby back from the weekend, because that was one of the worst advertisements for the Premier League probably in the history of the competition. But what I found quite interesting is what Manchester City did wrong. Manchester United are a team that adapts such central areas in how they play. Manchester City set up in a 4-4-2 almost, a diamond, and with very little in terms of wide areas, even from attacking fullbacks. And it just suited Manchester United down to the ground, and that's why Man City's XG for the game was so low. I'm going to share on screen a graphic of the average positions of Manchester United's midfield. Take a look where the likes of Ugarte and Casemiro adopt positions, right bang in that centre. Wide areas for Newcastle in terms of Murphy, Trippier, Livramento, and what I think is, if I had the choice, Anthony Gordon for this one are going to be key. Harvey Barnes has not put a foot wrong for Newcastle, and he seems to be getting better and better. But he is a player who likes to pick up central areas. He doesn't hug the touchline as much because he doesn't like to take a man on. And I do think from a tactical point of view, Anthony Gordon will be better suited to this game, but we don't know how bad his injury is. It doesn't sound like it's going to be great, but I'd still be happy enough with Barnes. But wide areas in this one are key. And Manchester City just completely, in my opinion, got it wrong on Sunday. No one really took any risks, which is maybe what Guardiola set up to do, but keeping it as central and not activating those wide areas was their downfall. Danger men for Eddie Howe to think about. Well, there isn't too many, but as much as it pains me to say it, because he is the worst Bruno, he is the Bruno from Wish. Bruno Fernandes continues to be at the front of everything good that Manchester United ever do. He's got 8 goals, 9 assists, 12 goal chances created, which is in sort of the top 10 category for the Premier League this season. Keep him quiet and you literally stall. He does like to pick up areas in the middle and drift. He does like to be the spare man. That's why our midfield three is where this match has won, and I cannot emphasise that enough. Tonali's controlling the centre, Bruno's creativity in drifting out and opening up space for other players, and Joe Linton just covering every blade of grass with his aggression and linking defence to attack. That's where we win this football match. But anyway, let's get into some black and white banter in the sunshine stats. Stats. Well, I'll start with, most of these are positive, but the main positive, this has been a pretty good fixture for Newcastle recently. We've won 4 of our last 5 games against Manchester United in all competitions. Who could forget that 3-0 away in the Carabao Cup last season, by the way? That is the same amount as we had in our previous 41. Also, on that note, we are looking to do the double over Man United in the league for the first time since, you're not going to believe this one, the 1930 to 1931 season. Anyone watching this who's alive to remember that? Fair play. I'm surprised you even know what YouTube is. Bit of an odd one, because I feel like a lot of Newcastle fans might say it doesn't feel like it. But did you know, since December the 14th, Newcastle have won 11 of their last 15 matches. No team in the Premier League has won more. It's only Liverpool, the league leaders, who've won the same amount. We are literally one of the most informed teams in the country for a solid 4 months, but it just doesn't quite feel like it. Maybe my brain is just still in Carabao Cup winning mode, I don't know. And just to finish on these stats for this one, bit of an interesting one. Each of Newcastle's last 8 wins against Manchester United have all been to 0. We have not won our last 34 matches when Manchester United have scored. So if they do put the ball in the back of the net in this one, which I'm really hoping they don't, the form they're in, I'd be slightly worried. Right then, it's prediction time. Oh, look, it seems weird to say it about Man United, but they are so bad at the moment and they are bottom of the table. I'm going to put them in the same category almost as that Leicester game on Monday. You don't beat Manchester United at home, the form we're in with the players we have, you don't deserve Champions League football. I do not expect us to win 3 matches in 6 days. I really don't. Villa is a tough game away from home, very tough. Crystal Palace, they've had a bit of spring in the step more recently as well. And they're going to Wembley as well, so they are really finishing their season strong. It's going to be a difficult 6 days, but we need to win this one on Sunday. I'm going to go for a comfortable, steady 2-0, same as the reverse fixture, same as that famous game last season when Eddie Howe said they want a game, we'll give them one. And I really hope Eddie Howe doesn't even need to say that for this one, because these players look motivated to get Champions League football. Let's keep going, lads. Let's finish the season strong, but more importantly, let's start this next 6 days in the best way possible with 3 more points. Let's keep pushing. Let us know your predictions down below. Thank you very much for watching. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us a comment, get Black and White Banter across all social media, and I'll see you on the match vlog for what is always a tasty, tasty fixture. I love it if we beat them. Love it! Oh!